Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Klein Connect here, and as usual, head coach Scott Langer joining me. Coach, before we get into the weekend at North Iowa, I just want to take a moment to recognize and congratulate Greg and Nancy Odie on being inducted, coming up, they'll be inducted into the South Dakota Hockey Hall of Fame, and all that they have done, not only through the Wings, but even prior to the Wings, as Kirby was playing and as their kids were growing up, all the positions that they had in the Aberdeen Hockey Association and all of the things that they've done over the course of the years to help grow this sport here in South Dakota. It's a great honor and one that is certainly well deserved.
Yeah, great honor, and they have done so much from what I understand, way before I've ever came here in the youth hockey area, and helping build the program, and just not here in Aberdeen, but from what I understand, they did a lot in the state of South Dakota, and you just see their work ethic, and it's really deserving.
Yeah, a sport that obviously they're very passionate about, and in South Dakota for a long time, heck, back when I played, we literally had chain link fencing and stuff around the boards, and practiced outside and all that kind of stuff, and it's because of people like Greg and Nancy, where we have 2 sheets of ice and are able to have games inside and all that kind of stuff. So it's that ages me, I suppose, but anyway. A great honor to them. And again, congratulations to them. Down in Mason City, Iowa this weekend, 2-0 loss on Friday, but a strong start, of possession, something you and I talked about that, maybe as a staff, you didn't really feel like at the time that it was that well of a played game, but when you go back and look at it, it's like, man, you did a lot of good things. There were a lot of things that went your way on Friday night. Unfortunately, just couldn't find the back of the net, and ends up with the loss. But again, some good positives and some good things that can be taken away from Friday night.
Yeah, hard to lose that game. Obviously the way we did lose it with a shorthanded goal against, and then a lack of a back check there with a guy standing all by himself. But when you go back and you look at the goal expectancy being almost 5, you look at the number of chances. The shots, and sometimes those things need to add up, and they just didn't that night. But when you lose a game, it's hard, and you're reflecting on it until you go really watch the video and settle down, and then you see so many good things, and you're like, we just couldn't find a way. And their goaltending was excellent. Yeah. He's done a good job. He's played on the prospect team, and there's a reason why they win some games over there. He's a big part of that.
Well, and like you said, there's a lot of positives there. Certainly the possession, there was shots on goal, chances, all of that. First and third, particularly, and like you said, on Saturday night, you got to tip your hat to that goaltender, as he did a great job. 6-3 on Saturday. You were up 6-0, and man, it just absolutely, talk about a strong start. It absolutely exploded on Saturday night there. Goal after goal after goal. I was kind of remarking at some point that the rink was dead silent. Like you could hear somebody sneeze, a few rows away from you or whatever, because it was just absolutely dead silent, other than people going, change the goalie. And eventually, of course, Coach Sandin does swap out to goaltenders, and it did what it's supposed to do. It inspired their team. They start blocking shots. They start to get a little offense generated and so on. It ends up being, again, a 6-3 win for you guys. Where do we start? How did you guys come out that strong on Saturday night? That was just really
again, we came out strong on Saturday night. We've been coming out strong. Yeah. That's one thing you can say about our hockey team right now is we're coming out of the gates, whereas opposed to in the past, we would limp our way through the game, and then we would finish strong. Yeah. But right now, our leadership is good. Our guys are believing in what we're preaching, and we came out and we made plays. And when you make plays, you're going to score goals. Yeah. And, we went through some stuff. You sat in the video session and stuff that we needed to do in order to be successful out there. But, eventually it's going to happen. Yeah. The way we're chancing teams and the way that we're, the rate that we're playing, it's going to happen. It has to. Yeah. Like Coach Stefan said, Coach Stepan, it was due. Yeah. It was just due, because you get so snake bitten and guys are playing well in net against you, and I was proud of our guys both nights. Hard to drop 2 points there, but the good thing is we get them back in our building this week.
Very true. I mentioned to somebody, I think somebody messaged me or something asking about Friday's game, and I said, it's a hard one because it is one that you feel like probably should have been won because it could have been. I mean, because of the way it was played. But then again, to come back on Saturday like that, I teased Coach Stepan a little bit. I said, well, boy, 3 unanswered goals. Did you guys get a little nervous? He looks at me, he's like, whatever. But the fact is that, Day is playing really well between the pipes, and you guys, having a difficult time scoring against him. But boy, you just, again, and I actually wanted to transition into that about the strong starts, and you mentioned it. In years past, strong starts have kind of been an Achilles heel, where it has been almost like a team crescendo, where, it starts slow and then builds to something big. This year, it really hasn't been a problem. You guys have, even on the road, and that's hard to do, but you've started strong. Why do you suppose that is? What is the difference? You mentioned captains and leaders.
I think the leadership goes all around your room, but I find our guys really bought into what we're preaching around here and what we're trying to accomplish. So, I mean, I just think it's the chemical makeup of the team. We had a couple good years where we would score really early, and it just depends on the group. This group here so far has really come out ready to go, and so their preparation is good.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. There was a couple times this year that I thought our preparation wasn't very good, and that was at home where we didn't start on time. But if we can start at home in the next couple weeks the way we started on the road here in the last few, we can have some success.
Without a doubt. And you mentioned it, in video and so on, that, there's certain things that North Iowa does well, and we're going to get into, what the keys are going to be when they come into this building. But, there's certainly a different style, when watching what they do, the block shots and the different things as far as, stretch passes and everything. It's so funny to me how the Central Division, as close as it is in standings, how each team has its own, little differences and little variety there. I wanted to bring this up, and nothing, I really actually had this in my head prior to Copel dropping the gloves there on Saturday night, but I was watching a Wild game last week, and after the game they go into the becoming Wild and all this different stuff, and they brought in an MMA fighter. They brought in a mixed martial artist who was teaching the guys, especially some of the younger ones, going through how to fight and how fighting on ice is different than would be and so on. And he was showing them how to tie up with somebody and how to throw punches and so on. And I'm a guy that honestly grew up with a heavy bag in my basement because my dad boxed, and it kind of occurred to me, is that something that you guys ever practice or teach in practice about? Not really?
It's pretty shunned upon now by, this day and age with USA Hockey and stuff. So, back when I played, of course, after every practice, that's what you did. It was fun, right? So, but now you can't do that. So guys have to work on their own, and, it's still very much part of the sport, even though it's not as exaggerated as it used to be. But, it's always, for me, there's always a reason. And Copel, not forgetting, having Jackson Gross-Didier's year basically taken from him by a player, and I think that's the right way to solve it. And, it was a good fight, and Copel deserved the hard hat, and he never forgot about Jackson Gross-Didier, and that's why our team is going to have success down the stretch.
Well, on maybe a personal note, he was in the hospital with him. I remember being in the lobby of the hotel when he came back with Lindsay, and he was saying, man, his face is a mess, and so he definitely has a personal connection to that. That was, I think, his first weekend with the Wings was down there in Mason City. So there's certainly a connection there. But again, I just thought it was interesting that they bring in somebody who's a professional fighter to basically teach professional hockey players, here's how you go about this, here's how you can defend yourself, even maybe more importantly.
Yeah, I think you can get away with that on the NHL level. You're not going to get away with that in junior hockey or especially youth hockey. So, but the big thing about the MMA thing is the mental part of it too, right? Entering a fight knowing that you're not going to lose, that's a big thing in MMA. So, I love what they're doing, and I think there should be part of being able to defend yourself more so than to be on the offense if it does happen. But rules are rules, right?
Rules are rules. All right, well, standings, the Austin Bruins right now top of the Central Division with 61 points. Wings in second with 50. St. Cloud has climbed up again. They're in third place with 49 points. Minot with 46 points, then Bismarck 44 to North Iowa with 43. North Iowa with 43 games played. Austin with 45. Everybody else in the Central Division with 44 games. So as I was saying, very close in the standings. Austin, has that 11-point advantage, but then you start to, then the increments get much smaller as you look through the standings. So every game, every night, every weekend, it becomes so much more important as we go down the stretch. And a weekend like this last one, where you had everyone who won on Friday night lost on Saturday night. Not a lot of movement there, but still, this next weekend, as we talked about, North Iowa Bulls come into the ODI Center, and we'll see them down in Mason City one more time this year too. I mentioned it kind of briefly earlier about the video and about seeing what they do well. What do you guys feel like you have to do, from a game plan and from, a preparation standpoint? What do you have to do to be able to clean things up a little bit? I want to say use the word sweep this weekend, but we'll just say clean things up here at the ODI Center against the Bulls.
Yeah, they like to stretch the rink, and they have guys that can score. Mm-hmm. That's one thing they have, is guys that can finish at the net. So our goaltending has to be good. We have to be responsible defensively and, keep them in front of us. They like to play that style, and they've added some defending to their game, with the block shots. So they're another team in the Central Division that's hard to play against. But we're going to continue doing what we do, and just this week try to get better at what we do, and we'll see how that matches up on the weekend.
I noticed oftentimes, like when there was a shot, especially from the point where my vision angle was the same as the shooter, I'm like, man, there are a lot of bodies there. It just seems like they have a tendency to jam lanes up. You mentioned goaltending. Great to see to see Gino Pecora come back and made some really big saves early in that game. And you guys get up and he's got some breathing room, but man, I thought he played really well. And I mentioned it to him even, that night, that I thought particularly the first probably 6-7 minutes, there were a couple of times that he came up with big saves. So great to see him back in net, and we'll look forward to some great goaltending as we again approach this weekend. Coach, that's all I've got for you. Thanks so much for taking some time to join us here on Wings Weekly once again, and good luck against the Bulls.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, we'll have the second portion of Wings Weekly coming up with a player after this.
Game time! We're gonna be here all day.
Once upon the greatest of all times.
Who's this? It's Kyler Murray. Kyler. Bring my phone to 6th Street. We gotta wrap this up. We're looking for Kyler! Just left. Janae!
I'll take those wings, though. Want to catch the game? Yo, Josh, what's up?
Yo, Janae! Josh. To the film room!
Whoa!
Wrong quarterback. Can't even see the screen. B-dubs. Where's my phone? Wrong quarterback, bro. To the greatest of all brands.
To the greatest of all times, Buffalo Wild Wings.
The second portion of Wings Weekly continues on, and as promised, a player is joining me. This time, one of the newest members of the Aberdeen Wings, Nick Comfort of Saline, Michigan. Is that Saline or Saline? Am I saying
Saline.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Happy to have you on. This is actually the second time this year where I've had somebody that has come on that I really haven't had a chance to really talk to other than briefly in the hotel or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting, an opportunity for me to get to know you a little bit too. But, basically, when it comes to Wings Weekly, a lot of what we do, or a lot of what I do, is basically ask the same kind of questions because each person has different answers.
Right.
So let's start with how you got started playing hockey. How did you, maybe some influences? Did you have an older brother or maybe a dad or somebody who played the game that kind of got you going?
No one really in the family. No, I think just watching on TV when I was really young, and then my cousin that was the same age as me, we went out and did learn to skate when you're about 3 years old.
Sure.
So we did that together and kind of fell in love with the game from there. So
excellent. Okay, I'm kind of laughing because I've had some guys on this year that as they started skating. I think Justice said last week that it was 11 months old when he first started skating, and I'm like, man, that is That is really young. But in years past, I had a guy that started skating when he was 12, and now he plays for UND. You know, and you're like, how it's so funny how the difference is.
Right.
But about 3 years old, he got started, and it just all kind of grew from there. Now the next step is into junior hockey, and you come to us from the Oklahoma City Warriors. Tell us a little bit about that transition coming from there to Aberdeen, South Dakota, and obviously you've had some time in juniors, so you know how it all works. But still, it's got to be a little bit different, coming into a locker room that's fairly established. These guys have been together since August,
Right.
It's got a little bit different, huh?
Yeah, a little different. We had a tight group down there, and it's different coming into a different room and to a smaller city. Oklahoma City was a big city, and you kind of got used to that. But a tighter community here for sure, fans-wise, and the whole organization as a whole, since it's been here longer. So I think that's a good something to look forward to, and have a better, more stable organization for sure.
It's interesting. I never really thought of it that way, but that is true. What was it, 2 years ago? Wings just celebrated their 10th anniversary, and this a little bit more established. And I think that kind of goes, like you mentioned, to the fan base, but certainly to every aspect of junior hockey. You're a defenseman, and last week I talked with Coach Langer a little bit about what you bring to the table and what you bring to the locker room, and getting a chance to see you play some games now. He called you, or he kind of described, in a sense, a little bit more of a stay-at-home kind of defenseman. However, I've seen where you're not afraid to to carry the puck down and in too. When did you start playing defense, and what is it about playing defense that kind of appeals to you? Like, what is it that makes you go, man, this is where I fit best?
I've always played defense growing up. I think what appeals to me is I like backward skating from when I was really young, and I think that aspect, and just being able to hit guys and kind of shut skilled players down.
The board battles, it seems like a big part of it. I watch guys like Karlstrom and you, and pinning guys in, and just even especially like off the kill, whatever it is, you're stifling and taking away their opportunities, really.
Yeah, I think that's what I like the most, and also blocking shots is on the kill, whether it's on the kill or in 5-on-5, is something I like. I pride myself in my game as well. Well,
Coach Langer, being a defenseman himself, he's big on the blocked shots, so he's going to like that a lot. Love to see those blocked shots. And it's funny, when I was a kid, I started playing, I loved goalies. I just thought it was so cool. And it was because of the equipment. I don't know why, but I just thought that was the coolest thing. I wanted to be a goalie. And then I was like, no, this sucks. I'm not going to be a goalie. But I think it's funny that as a kid, as you grow into different positions, so it's kind of interesting that you always kind of have been a defenseman, and that's kind of where you feel most comfortable. Love that. All right, how about you? Like I said, I haven't had a chance to really get to know you much, and neither have the fans. So let's talk a little bit about what do you do off the ice when you're away from the rink, or the working out, whatever it is. Do you have any hobbies or anything like that?
Yeah, I enjoy working out, playing golf. I've been playing cards with the boys since I've been here. In the summer, I like to do a lot of water sports, slalom skiing, wakeboarding, that kind of stuff.
Right on.
So, yeah.
Is Saline a fairly big city? Is it near water?
No, it's just south of Ann Arbor, so it's close to a big city, but Saline's only 9,000 people. Okay. Pretty small town.
Yeah, but you get an opportunity to do some wakeboarding and stuff anyway. That's
right.
Okay, I have to ask you a little bit about, I mentioned how you get started, but certainly family is a big part of hockey. We talk about it often, whether it's in the locker room or as players grow up, and as the hockey mom running them here or there, and dad's supporting and all this different stuff. I was shocked to come out of the Mesa in Minot and see parents waiting by the bus, and I'm going, And then you come out, I'm going, they came from Michigan? That's a long ways. But that obviously speaks a lot to the level of support that they have for you.
Yes, I'm so thankful for them. They had planned a trip down to Oklahoma that weekend, and then when I got moved here, they just changed their flights and came to see me and helped me get settled in. So I really appreciate them for doing that. And yeah, my sister's been really supportive as well throughout my youth careers and junior career. So
sure, you got to have that fan base, and it starts at home. I love that. Again, that's I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I say that every week. But it's so true to have that that support system and how important family really
helps
is.
a lot.
It definitely does. What are your impressions? Like you mentioned, coming from Oklahoma City, but then you're Saline 9000. What were your first thoughts when you come to Aberdeen? Kind of like, wow, this place is flat.
yeah, it's flat. I don't know. It was bigger than I thought, actually.
Yeah.
It has all the essentials, and in terms of the team, it's a pretty tight group here as well.
Yeah.
And
community-wise too, like you said, you were mentioning earlier, how there's such a level of support when you guys are out in schools reading to kids, all these different things. It's great, to see that you guys are able to give back to the community. And I always laugh about your impressions and about it being flat, because when you're driving into town, it is so flat that you don't realize that you are actually driving into a city that's 28,000 people, because it just looks like a few lights here or there, But I often think of that when it comes to other teams, pulling into town too. They're like, what are we getting into here? So yeah. Okay, we talked interests, hobbies, golf. How about foods? I always ask guys if they had a one meal that they could just have their absolute favorites of all kinds. What would it be?
I like all pastas.
Yeah.
I think I could do salmon almost every day as one of my favorite foods.
Good healthy one too.
Yes, very healthy. Pre-game, usually chicken and rice, or maybe some barbecue sauce in there. Okay. It's kind of a go-to.
Do you have you're a nap guy? Kind of that pre-game ritual where you got to have a certain time set aside?
Not a certain time, but definitely like to lay down for a couple hours pre-game.
Right. How about on the bus? Is there something in particular? Obviously, the bus rides in the South are a heck of a lot longer than what we have. That's one of the nice things I love about the Central Division is, and I'm old, so I get stiff and sore on the bus anyway, but we're only on it 6 hours at a time at the most, versus these 12-hour trips that some of the teams have to make in the league. So that's kind of nice. But being a guy that spent some time on buses for extended periods of time, what do you have to have? Is there like earbuds, pillow? What are your necessities?
Yeah, earbuds, pillow, blanket. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Some go-to snacks, protein bars. That's apples. I like a lot of fruit, so.
Right on. The snacks. You never know. Sometimes we might, hit a gasser or something after a game, and sometimes you don't. So I always make sure, prepared one way or the other. So like a bag of snacks, just in case. Mm-hmm. All right. Obviously, you're good at hockey. All right. What is something that you would say you're bad at? Is there something that you're like, man, I cannot do that?
English in school.
Oh yeah?
Never very good at English in school, no. Just did not enjoy it at all, and yeah, just never cared enough.
I get it, I do. I've always, I can't stand math. I'm just terrible at math. Thankfully there's calculators and ways to go around that. But then again, I can't ever remember the last time I had to figure out what the preposition of a sentence was.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I get it. That's awesome. Okay. Really, that's about all I've got for you. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you guys are very busy. So again, I appreciate you coming on the show. As I mentioned, folks, earlier, congratulations to Greg and Nancy Odie on being inducted into the inaugural class of the South Dakota Hall of Fame. We can start a 6-game homestand this weekend in the Odie, starting with North Iowa Bulls Friday and Saturday, February 24th and 25th. Friday, doors open at 5:30 and the puck drops at 7:15. We are celebrating Winger's birthday, so come on out and wish Winger a happy birthday. We welcome My Place as the game's corporate sponsor inside the Automax Party Deck. Saturday, once again, doors open at 5:30 and the puck hits the ice at 7:15. Hockey is for everyone night. Don't forget to bring your skates, as we have Danger Von Dempsey's Skate with the Wings after the game. We also have Ray Hybrids has the game's corporate sponsor inside the Automax Party Deck. As always, tickets are available online at tickets.aberdeenwings.com or at the door on game nights. $10 general admission tickets are also available at any Sea Express location in Aberdeen with additional purchase. Just a reminder that all SDAHA players and coaches can receive $5 general admission tickets at the door all season long. Wings hockey clinics with assistant coach Zach Stepan continue. Up next, an efficiency skating session this Sunday, November 6th. No, that can't be right, not November 6th, but that would be, well, the date must be March. It'd have to be March 6th, right? Yeah, following week. Here at the Audi. For more information to get your youth skater registered, visit aberdeenwings.com. Don't forget, you can listen to Wings Weekly via our podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit aberdeenwings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. And once again, thank you so much, Nick Comfort, Saline, Michigan, for joining us here on Wings Weekly and getting the fans a chance to kind of get to know you a little bit.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. It's been a pleasure. All right, folks, that'll wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.